This week, we test your logic using the power of beer. This episode of Scam School brought to you by Domain.com. Welcome to the show that's pretty much an all-powerful wizard when it comes to defeating the dark forces of sobriety. Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. Hello, beautiful people. I'm Brushwood, and this week you're going to confuse your friends, befuddle your enemies, and destroy your teachers. Probably won't destroy your teachers, but you're going to do it with the beer scale. Ready? Boom, 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 boom. Daryl and Andres, both of you guys are computer science guys. I have a logical conundrum that I understand works, but I don't understand why it works. I'm gonna pose this to you guys. Hopefully you'll be able to figure it out. We have 2 clear beers, 2 brown beers, 2 green beers. In our theoretical conundrum, imagine that each of these has a heavy one and a light one. Let's say they're a gram off, enough that you wouldn't feel the difference with your hand, but enough that if they were on a balance, they would slightly tilt off from each other, okay? Got it. So the question is, which are the heavy beers, which are the light beers, and we need to be 100% for all 6 beers.
All 6.
Let's say this is a scale right here. You would take these, and you would just go, beer. Yeah. Oh, well that one's heavy, this one's light. Unfortunately, you only get to use the balance 2 times.
2 times, okay.
Can you figure out definitively which are the light ones and which are the heavy ones?
Okay.
I like the frustration face on Andreas. He's just like, you mother.
Well, I'm thinking back to some previous Scam School episodes, but I don't see how that's going to work with this.
This is similar. Yeah. This is similar to a previous episode.
Where we had some scale issues.
But understand also, there's a reason I'm doing this now.
Right.
And it's because me, the guy who previously already covered this, had a hard time with this one. Where's your head at, Andreas?
I'm thinking that we should divide one of the pairs and put the other kinds of beers in each side. So
if you're saying like we did browns on this side, and greens on this side, and then split one of the clear ones here.
Exactly.
Here's the only problem with that. These 2, you have 1 light, 1 heavy, and these 2, you definitely have 1 light, 1 heavy. You don't know which one is which, but these 2 definitely count each other out. Oh. So really all you're doing is figuring out which one is lighter of the clear bottles, right?
Okay, does this scale have any numbers on it?
No. You only know more or less.
So if we were to do similar to that and put those 2 over here.
These 2?
Yeah.
All right, so the clears over here.
And then we'll put one of these here.
Okay.
And then something more like this.
Okay, well, we have the same thing. These 2 cancel out these 2. Here, we'll take these out. So if you're to do this, and again, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's this, maybe it's this.
Okay, so
either way, you now definitively know which one is which.
We know one, but if we
we can use the same thing with another. Well, no.
See, it's harder. It's harder than you think. I'll tell you this much for a fact. You only get 2 iterations on the scale.
Right.
If the only thing you take away is which of these is heavier than the other, you don't have enough vectors to get the rest of the information.
Okay.
This is making me so happy because I feel so much less dumb now that you guys are having difficulty with it. I'm gonna give you guys the first part of the answer. We'll take a break and then we'll have you guys figure out for me why it makes sense in all the other scenarios. On the scale, you do put 2 matching, right? Doesn't matter if it's, the 2 browns, the 2 greens, or the 2 clears. But then, for the first weighing,
you only do one of one?
You do 1 of each. And the answer to why this will work out for everything else is what we're gonna find out after we take a break. Here, pretend to toast me. Toast me with your closed beers, beautiful people. There we go. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Is it online yet?
Full functionality.
We saved the IPv4 address.
Nobody wants to type an IP. People want top-level domains, .com, .net. Is he gonna remember any of this?
No, we're gonna wipe it clean.
Prep it for surgery. 2, 1. Happy New Year, everybody! Woo! you're gonna go for.
Thirsty little guy, here you go.
With this solution, we get the best of all worlds. Top-level domains, .com, .net, fast, easy, reliable, 99.99% uptime. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the future of New Austin, domain.com. Come on, for you.
Go Domain!
Yeah! You bad mother. There we go. All right, so you have two matched beers, one which is heavier than the other. You have one green and one clear.
Clear, right, okay.
I would say the best scenario is that this balances, which means you have one light and one heavy on each side, right? Because you have to have one light and one heavy.
Yeah.
You just don't know which one's which.
Exactly.
I would say you would what? You would remove these and then find out for sure, okay, well this one is heavy, which means this one must be light. This one's light, which means this one must be heavy.
Yeah.
And then by process of elimination, the last two. So we're in agreement on that part. Here's the part I don't understand, and I need your computer minds to make me grok this. Let's say this goes down.
That means that both of these ones are heavy.
Okay, does it though? Because this one could be light, and this one could be light, and this one could be the heavier of the two matching brown bottles.
Okay.
See? It's hard. See? It's harder.
But then, if you take out these two, you'll notice which of these ones.
Okay, here's what I think, and you can tell me if this is right or not.
All right, so I'm gonna stop you right there. So do you remember when Brian said this?
Here's the part I don't understand.
Yeah, well that part he was talking about was pretty much all of the explanation. So things got pretty messy and confusing and John had to come in and help explain things, but I'm just gonna break it down with this really simple diagram. Alright, so to solve this, there's a two-step process that'll end up with 4 permutations, and with that you can figure out any possible combination. So for our exercise, we're gonna keep the brown bottles in the center, and the heavy bottle is always going to be to the right. The first possible scenario ends up if step 1 balances evenly. We just saw Brian run through this scenario, and he did a pretty good job. I'll run through it again pretty quickly, just for posterity. You can deduce that there's both a heavy and a light beer on both sides, each countering out the other. So for step 2, we're gonna remove the brown bottles, which we know there has to be a heavy and a light, and then the scale tips towards the heavy, through which you have enough information to solve for the other variables. Now for the other 3 permutations, let's take it back to step 1. Now if the scale tips during step 1, it's important to note it will always tip to the heavy brown bottle. For step 2, you'll remove both of the brown bottles, you'll then replace one of the remaining bottles with its alternate. So for here, we'll just remove the green bottle, and we'll replace it with the green bottle that wasn't originally used. For sake of clarity, we'll call this bottle the substitute. So at this point, the scale can end up in one of 3 possible states, leaning towards the substitute, balanced, or leaning away from the substitute. Now each of these states are manifested by the 3 remaining permutations. If the scale is now even, then both beers currently on the scale have to be light. And you can pretty easily figure out the rest of these bottles from that information. Now the scale could have also been even if both beers were heavy, but that solution was exhausted in the first permutation. Now obviously if the scale leans away from the substitute, then the substitute is going to be light and the clear bottle's heavy. Inversely, if the scale leans towards the substitute, then the substitute is heavy and the clear bottle is light. Don't get too hung up on memorizing all of the different possible combinations or anything, just remember the process. If you remember the process, everything else just falls right into place.
Oh my God, I feel so much better now. Right on, computer science for the win. Holy crap, I'm ready to get back to drinking. Oh my God. Look, man, we've said it a million times on the show. Yes, it's the tricks that get people engaged, but it's the puzzles like this that captures that energy and turns it into free drinks for you. Speaking of which, I want to hear all your success stories and failure stories, so post them down in the comments below. And don't forget to join us next week because we are going to learn how to create prison hooch. The only trick is you got to go to prison. I don't know, what, did they send you in jail for drinking? Welcome to the show that's pretty much like the best wizard in the area, in your local phone book. It's the
on comic books. Finger in the air. Messing up the lights. I don't even care. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best.
I like the frustration.